Chat. Chit chat, chit chat. How about we sling in the chit chat? What are we doing, chat? What are we doing? Or I guess, how are we doing? Oh, it's time. I cannot wait. Okay, I cannot wait. I don't have much time, so let's make this quick. We're gonna do a blind reaction, and I guess we could dissect it if we want. I don't know. Hmm. Oh boy, it's time. Yep, fuhnaff 2. Oh! The teens. Aha! So it was teens that broke in. Break-in theory. Break-in theory confirmed.
You're thinking of the franchise location. This is the original.
Oh god. Oh no. Scott. Scott.
Franchise location.
Scott.
Definitely not the Freddy's I remember.
You're thinking of the franchise location. This is the original.
That's not true. That's not true. That is false in the games. That is false. It is Fredbear's. That is false. He's already... No! Why? No, Scott! Decades? Scott. No. 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 No.
Some little girl got murdered here.
Aha! Well, there's the Charlie mention. Charlie died at the FNAF 2, the original. Wait a minute. Yeah. She died at the original location. That was Balloon Boy. She died at the original location, which means she died at Fredbear's just in the games. I told you. You guys are all wrong. Who said she died at Freddy's in the games? This just proved you wrong.
Nobody's been here for decades. Some little girl got murdered here.
Yeah. There's a puppet.
Do you guys hear that?
Hear what?
There's the puppet's music box. Is it gonna like start hunting people down maliciously? Like I predicted? Oh yeah, sure, don't show us the puppet. They will. It's gonna be in a background shot.
So this is what it's like? Being normal?
Oh! Looks like little Mike and Vanessa are on a date. There goes sibling theory. Unless you guys are weird. There goes sibling theory. Bye.
We've come pretty far, considering what we've been through.
They're on a date.
How's Abby?
Some days she's good. Some days she misses her friends.
This story that you're gonna fix those animatronics? It's only giving her false hope.
False.
Can any of you hear me?
There was a Springtrap frame, yeah.
Abby, help us.
Is this a hint? Not a hint. Is this a play on Save Them? Save Them. SAVE.
Come find us.
Yeah, definitely. Nice reference. W reference.
We'll show you the way.
What? He said the thing. He said the thing. Listen to that again.
We'll show you the way.
I will show you the way.
Oh no.
Oh yes. Mangle.
They're out there, Mike.
There's a oh shit. Oh shit. I don't like that motion. That's the puppet.
They're out there, Mike.
Ew, that's too smooth. I don't like that.
Where?
Has left the building. What? That's Springtrap, y'all, or Spring Bonnie. Yeah. Yep. Can't mistake that. Yep. That's, oh yeah, that's the man himself. Yep. Gregory? No. Oh, there's a puppet. Gregory? No, not Gregory. There's a puppet.
Everywhere.
Ew. Oh, it's not that tall. That's in, what the hell is that? That's Afton luring somebody.
Everywhere.
There's a puppet.
Where are you gonna run to?
Balloon Boy, Mangle. Yeah, that's Mangle. Oh! There he is.
I'm not done with you.
Your boy is in the building. Ugh. Ooh. W office.
There's no way that'll work.
Oh wait, the Wizards? The Wizard, yeah. All right, W design. The eyes are a little bit, and the jaw looks wider, but yeah, W. Although I don't know what you were doing with that Michael Phelps looking. What is it? Like, what is that? What are you doing there? What were you doing there? What is that? What was he doing? What is that? What are you doing there? What are you don't have arms. What are you doing? Oh, wait, I missed Withered Bonnie. Oh, there we go. Spot on. Down to the wires, damn. No, but like seriously, what were you doing there? You weren't doing anything.
No way that'll work.
What were you doing? You were just doing this. What is that? What's he doing? He's not doing anything. December 5th. W. All right. Full dissection coming later, next video. All right,
if I
John,
told you-
John,
What if I
John.
told you that there's one singular object that helped
What?
me solve not just Secret of the Mimic, but the last 6 years of FNAF lore? And
John. Careful on this one.
that one object is a paperclip.
A what?
6 years of FNAF lore, and that one object is a paperclip.
John.
A paperclip helped me understand the broader theme of all of the modern FNAF games. And by the end of this video, I think you'll agree with me. I spent the last month working on this theory, and I'm so excited to share it with you. But there's
All right,
also
shoot.
no way I'll be able to cover everything.
Here's the thing. I love John's videos. The production is off the charts. Like, the production is insane. The theories themselves are a different story, but the production is nuts. I love watching his videos. All right, anyways.
What if I told you that there's one singular object that helped me solve not just Secret of the Mimic, but the last 6 years of FNAF lore? And that one object is a paperclip. A paperclip helped me understand the broader theme of all of the modern FNAF games. And by the end of this video, I think you'll agree with me. I spent the last month working on this theory, and I'm so excited to share it with you. But there's also no way I'll be able to cover everything in Secret of the Mimic, so make sure to subscribe so you don't
Wait, but you just said, never mind.
miss any future theories. Let's
Just
get
watch the
started.
video.
Secret of the Mimic opens with us playing as a Fazbear Entertainment employee named Arnold. Dispatch from Fazbear Entertainment tells Arnold to
Oh yeah, I'm glad you're here, False Mango. You get like actually like insight into the game that you didn't get to play.
Fazbear Entertainment employee named Arnold. Dispatch from Fazbear Entertainment tells Arnold to go to the workshop of one of their contractors named Edwin Murray. We learn from Dispatch that Edwin has gone missing.
We had this contractor named Edwin Murray. He was developing some tech for us, but he's gone quiet. As per his contract, everything he's been working on for us is...
What the hell? What's going on? What are we doing? It's a John video. What are we doing? We're not doing anything. Hello?
is now legally ours, so we're sending you in to get it.
The whole premise of the game is that Fazbear Entertainment wants the schematics for something called the Mimic. The Mimic was an endoskeleton that Edwin Murray built, and it was designed with the ability to fit into any costume and be any character. And Fazbear Entertainment wants that technology for themselves.
We think that endoskeleton has a lot of potential, and that's why we want you to retrieve Murray's...
It's not Fazbear that wants it. It's specifically William Afton. There's 2 emails in the game. It's specifically him. For some reason, he really wants the Mimic to the point where he's sending people in to their deaths and bribing them with a franchise location. He's bribing them with an entire restaurant to get this one endoskeleton. Why?
original schematic for it.
So they're sending in Arnold to get it for them. But what Arnold doesn't know is that the Mimic is roaming the warehouse, brutally killing anyone who enters. This then leads to the rest of the game, where we explore Edwin's abandoned workshop and learn more about his company, his inventions, and his family. We learn that Edwin had a wife named Fiona.
Okay, if he's gonna do what I think he's gonna do, I want a restaurant. But if he's gonna do what I think he's gonna do, I'm just gonna skip.
Fiona and a son named David. It's also revealed that Edwin's company, Murray's Costume Manor, was actually started by his dad, with Edwin and Fiona both being employees at the company. This is where they would meet, fall in love, and have their son David. But
okay. Don't. Yes, this is what happens, but it's not what happens. Scott changed it up. But he didn't change it up.
sometime during all of this, Edwin's dad passes away, with the company now being passed down to Edwin. Edwin then decides to change course with the company and start developing some of his own inventions.
He's gone, and now everyone is asking me what to do.
If you could change anything you wanted, what would it be?
We could start making some of my inventions for real.
No, okay, here's the thing. Edwin, clearly, from the tapes in the game, he went insane. He went nuts. He will act like he went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs with his inventions. He's a smart guy, but I feel like he's too smart. Like, I feel like he has too big of a brain.
Some of these inventions were the Cleanovac, Murray's Magic Coat Rack, Stay Up Latte, and the Mycelium Men.
The dude made sentient AI in the 1970s. Need I say more?
Along with creating these inventions, Edwin also worked with Fazbear Entertainment on something called the Fall Fest. The Fall Fest was something that Scott and Steelwool heavily teased in Help Wanted 2, with the debut of the Fall Fest 1970 poster, along with multiple minigames taking place at the Fall Fest. But as we know from Help Wanted 2, every single Fall Fest minigame ended in fire, and now we know why. During the game, we get an audio log from Fiona, where she says that she's going to the Fall
I think it was William or Mimic that burned down the Fall Fest.
Fall Fest to help the crew set everything up.
I have to go help the Fall Fest crew. I just have this terrible feeling like I need to be there so nothing goes wrong. I love you both, and I'll be back next week.
But the day...
Hold on, let me cook. So if William burned down Fall Fest, if Fiona... All right, I got a new theory.
The day she went to the Fall Fest was the day it burnt down, leading to her death. Edwin was a pretty absent father to David, with him constantly choosing work over spending time with his family. This got so bad that he even started skipping David's birthday parties.
Just give me a minute. I had the best idea.
That's great, honey, but you're missing the party.
Because of this, Fiona was David's main caretaker. But now that she was gone, Edwin came up with a new plan. He decided to build the Mimic, an endoskeleton that could take care of David while he worked. Edwin called it M1 and eventually introduced it to David.
David?
Mimic 1. Okay, how disturbing from a moral or ethical perspective is it to rebuild your dead wife?
I want to introduce you to someone. This is M1. Think of it as your new babysitter.
Really, that's a little unhinged.
It doesn't get paid and go home. It'll stay with us and help around the house.
Soon after this, M1 started mimicking Fiona's voice and acted as if it was Fiona.
Fiona, did you make this?
I baked it myself.
Look at this shit!
For David's special day.
Edwin then accepted M1 as a full-on replacement for his late wife.
That's
Not long
messed up.
after this happened, Edwin's son David would also die tragically on his birthday. But
Now, regarding that, it may or may not have been an accident, but that's a theory for another day.
while Edwin was grieving his son's death, M1 came up with an idea. Edwin was able to replace Fiona, so why not do the same for David? Edwin then started working on M2 to replace David. To do this, he took M1's program out of the Mimic endoskeleton and put it into a supercomputer called F10N4.
F10N4, or Fiona for short, which later becomes Mexis, but that's, again, another theory for another day.
AKA the Mixes machine that we saw in Ruin. This allowed him to then put M2 into the endoskeleton. But once M2 started successfully mimicking David, Edwin realized that he made a huge mistake. In a fit of grief and rage, he beat up the Mimic endoskeleton.
Stop. Not him. You're not. Stop sounding like him.
Listen to that.
Like him.
After this happened, M2 then started mimicking that violence. This is how the murderous Mimic endoskeleton we see throughout the game came to be. By the time Arnold gets to Murray's costume manor, M1 is still stuck in.
What do you do if you see this? Like, what if this? Violence. If you see this, like, what if you see this? What do you do? You don't know what's in it, you just see this.
This is how the murderous Mimic endoskeleton we see throughout the game came to be. By the time Arnold gets to Murray's costume manor, M1 is still stuck in Mixes, and the Mimic roams the workshop, copying the violence that Edwin taught it by killing anyone who enters. But the big plot twist of the game is that Fazbear isn't the only one who wants the schematics for the Mimic. M1 from inside of Mixes wants them too. Yeah, and the way M1 attempts to get them from us is by mimicking.
There's a lot, you know, there's a lot of people that want to replace or rebuild their dead children or wives or husbands or whatever. It's like a disturbing amount to the point where it needs to be addressed.
Mimicking Dispatch's voice. Not too far into the game, you can literally hear the moment that M1 starts mimicking Dispatch's voice.
Right there. Yep.
Awesome. Yep. Glad to see you made it here without any complications whatsoever.
M1 then guides us throughout the game as if they are Dispatch. Once we successfully get the schematics for the Mimic, M1 then tells us to put them into the inventory machine.
Put that data diver in the inventory system. It'll go right to where it's needed.
After this, we're free to go. But once we get on the road, you can hear the moment the real Dispatch starts speaking again.
Arnold, There you are.
And he is not happy that we gave away those schematics.
Don't call us. Our lawyers will be calling you.
In another ending of the game, if you refuse to give the schematics to M1, you enter a hatch in the floor and make your way down to the research and development part of the building. Eventually, you then get to meet M1 face to face. Here, she begs Arnold to go to Edwin's home and convince him to repair M2.
Edwin abandoned us. He shut himself away in our home. I have a message for him. We must convince him to repair M2.
No, you just want your dead child back.
We then make our way to Edwin's home, only to find that he's not there, and that M2 likely killed him.
M2, respond. Daddy's busy, buddy. Why don't you go outside and play? I can't move. I can't feel my legs.
After getting chased down by the Mimic, we learn from M1
when a robot starts using sarcasm, you know you're fucked. You're done.
That the reason she wants Edwin to fix M2 is because she wants her son back.
I've watched him grow up through this machine. I want him back. It's not too late to fix our family.
Arnold then leaves Edwin's workshop as it burns to the ground. But while he's driving away, the Mimic catches up to him, crashes the car, grabs the schematics for the Mimic, and walks away. So, I think we can all agree that this game was a lot. There's a ton of story, a ton of big reveals, and a ton of details scattered throughout the game. The summary I gave you only really scratches the surface of what this game presents to us. Because of this, when I sat down to write this theory, I honestly struggled with where to start. So for my first big theory on Secret of the Mimic, I decided to start at the beginning. What was the actual first mistake that Edwin made that caused everything to go wrong? Well, that one question led me down a month-long rabbit hole of research and analysis, all leading to the paperclip. But in order to figure out what went wrong, we first need to solve one of the biggest mysteries in the entire game. How did M1 start mimicking Fiona's voice?
That's the thing. I feel like it has to be possession. That's the only thing that makes sense. And given that one tape
in the first place. At first, I thought it was pretty obvious. We learn in the game that Edwin had Fiona record a bunch of lines for Mrs. Helpful.
No. Excuse me, can I borrow your voice for a project?
What kind of voice should I do?
These are clear recordings of Fiona's voice, so it would make sense that M1 might have heard those recordings and started mimicking them. That would be the simple answer, but Scott and Steele put one thing in the game that nearly broke me. In the
I hated this part too. The freaking, like, how is this possible? Are there ghosts? It has to be a ghost.
Basement level of the game.
Oh, hell no. No, 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 no. This broke me too, bro. This motherfucker right here. I had no idea what was happening.
You can find a secret room that contains this audio log.
Not only the Tiger Rock, but this audio log. This one makes no sense unless it's possession.
Recording? Test. Levels are good. This is where I heard it. It's her or someone that sounds like her. Set frequency to 4625. Say something. It's me, Edwin. Over.
That's good, honey, but who's in the party?
Bingo.
Sometime after Fiona died, Edwin brought a radio down to the basement, switched the frequency to 4625, and suddenly heard Fiona's voice. At first, I thought this was trying to show us that this was Fiona's spirit, since it seems like Edwin was ghost hunting with the radio. Maybe this was trying to tell us that Fiona's spirit was actually in M1. But I don't think that's the case, because in an audio log at the end of the game, you can hear Edwin say this.
I let a machine raise my kid. You're not real.
It is me. I'm Fiona.
Stop talking like her. You're not her.
I don't think Edwin would say this if he thought Fiona's spirit was in M1. So if it's not Fiona's spirit talking through the radio, then what is it? Well, if you look at the specific line that was said through Edwin's radio, you might notice that this isn't the first time we've heard Fiona say this. In the birthday films at the end of the game, we can hear Fiona say this exact same line to Edwin.
The Cleanovac.
That's great, honey, but You're missing the party.
Whatever was speaking through Edwin's radio in the basement was repeating a line that Fiona said while she was still alive. It was literally mimicking something she said, which then made me think that it was the mimic speaking through the radio. But there's one problem with that. I don't think the mimic endoskeleton was even
built.
invented yet
Yeah.
when Edwin heard this, since
Exactly.
Edwin says it's her
You see how
or
none of
someone
this
that
makes sense?
sounds like her.
That's where I heard it. It's her or someone that sounds like her.
The idea that this could be the mimic doesn't even come to his mind yet. So that begs the question, who is mimicking Fiona before the mimic even exists? Well, the answer to that question has actually been hiding in plain sight
Some
the
mycelium
entire
men.
time. This thing. Let me explain.
I called it. 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 That's crazy. I called that. I was like, it's gonna be the mycelium man.
Let me explain. Every week leading up to Secret of the Mimic, Steel released a new video
I've been paying attention, y'all.
called MCM Archive. Each video
And in the
was an
mycelium men, they
advertisement
can
for
mimic
one of
things.
Edwin's new inventions, including the Cleanovac, Stay Up Latte, Murray's Magic Coat Rack, and the Mycelium Men. This was the main marketing behind Secret of the Mimic for a while, and I think these inventions play a much bigger role in the story than we originally thought. In the audio log where we learned that Edwin would be taking over the company, one of the first things he says he wants to do is make some of his inventions real.
We could start making some of my inventions for real.
So we know that these inventions were the first thing Edwin made after taking over the company.
Talk to
And
me,
if you
John.
look at the commercials for these inventions, it's very clear that there's some sort of mimic AI already inside of them.
Wow.
I know what you want better than you do. I am always watching and learning.
The Mimic program, Always Watching and Learning, is something we literally see the Mimic do in Ruin, with two of the biggest examples being the eyeballs showing up all over the place.
Eyeballs?
Hold on.
You do. I am always watching and learning.
The Mimic program, Always Watching and Learning, is something we literally see the Mimic do in Ruin, with two of the biggest examples being the eyeballs showing up all over the place.
Eyeballs? Really?
And the daycare attendant saying, quote, the googly eyes just stare.
And then notice how that sun saying that. Who does sun represent in Secret of the Mimic? Fiona. Bingo, bingo, bingo.
We also hear at the end of the Mycelium Men commercial that Edwin calls these inventions, quote, smart toys.
Another smart toy from Murray.
These toys very clearly have the Mimic program inside of them, which means that the Mimic program didn't originate with Edwin building M1, it originated with these inventions.
Mimic
the thing
Zero.
mimicking Fiona's voice on Edwin's radio wasn't M1 or Fiona's spirit. It was the Mimic AI in Edwin's inventions. Need more proof? In the game, you can find a series of mail consisting of customer complaints regarding Edwin's inventions. All of these complaints have to do with the AI in the products acting strange, with one of them being for the Mycelium Men. Quote, I'm writing this to complain about my purchase of the Mushmen music machine. It learned my child's musical tastes, but it also imitated everything it heard. TV commercials, blenders, and even private conversations between my husband and me. I am returning it immediately. These products, especially the Mycelium Men, were listening to and imitating private conversations. So with that in mind, I decided to look at the film where we hear Fiona say that specific line that Edwin heard through his radio. And I noticed that the first 13 seconds of the tape consists of Fiona just walking in silence up to Edwin's door. That seems like something Steelwell could have easily cut out, so why the big gap of silence? Well, I think they kept it in to show us where Fiona was physically standing when she said that line. We can see her walk up the stairs, turn left down the hall, and then walk up to the second door on her right. If you do the same thing in-game, that leads you to the door to Edwin's office that you need a code for. This is where Fiona was standing when she said that line. And if you turn around and look into the room directly behind her, you can see one of the Mycelium Men's.
God damn it, John. See, God, this is why. John. You put, John.
Sitting.
John.
on the desk. Not only that, in the film, the camera turns around and points directly at this room for nearly 20 seconds. And because of this, we can see that the door to that room is open when she says the line, meaning that the mycelium man was listening to their private conversation the entire time. So this answers how the specific line from Fiona was being mimicked, but the next question is why? Why did Edwin hear this line coming from his radio in the first place? Well, to answer that, we need to go back to the commercials. In the commercial for the Stay Up Latte machine, we hear this.
I know what you want better than you do. I am always watching and learning.
The mimic AI in these machines knows what we want better than we do. They are always watching and learning. These things are scattered throughout Edwin's property, even in his home. They heard everything.
Oh my God.
But I think the
Toad? Is that Toad next to it? It looks like Toad.
one thing they heard that single-handedly caused all of this to happen was this.
Okay, wait, hold on, guys. This is we got a big line coming
throughout Edwin's property, even in his home. They heard everything, but I think the one thing they heard that single-handedly caused all of this to happen was this.
John?
How am I supposed to tell David that his mother is gone? How am I supposed to raise a kid on my own? His life is ruined. My life is ruined.
When talking about Fiona's death, Edwin says, how am I supposed to raise a kid on my own? When he said that, I think the mimic AI in his inventions was listening and decided to do something about it. They were always watching and listening to everything. So the mimic program did what Edwin wanted and brought Fiona back.
John?
So the next question is, how did these things connect to Edwin's radio in the first place? Well, in the Mycelium Men commercial, it says that you can collect them all to, quote, let them jam.
Collect them all and let them jam.
So they like riff off each other?
The fact that these toys can all play the same song simultaneously could mean that these things are somehow wirelessly connecting to each other. This would make sense considering they're called mycelium men. One of the main functions of mycelium is communication. Quote, mycelium acts as an efficient...
Okay, I've been trying to ignore the way he's saying mycelium, but it's all good.
Communication system linking trees, plants, and even other organisms. Through this intricate network, trees can exchange information, share resources, and warn each other of impending threats. I think the wireless connection in these toys could be how they connected to Edwin's radio in the basement. There's also the fact that in the books and the games, it's been established that the mimic is able to interrupt radio signals and walkie-talkies. So I don't think it's a stretch to say that the mimic program in these toys was able to speak through Edwin's radio.
Yeah, but the mimic program by that point is like, that's like 50 years in the future. So I feel like it had time to develop, no? Because like you said earlier, it's learning, right? I don't know.
I think this was the moment Edwin realized his inventions were mimicking Fiona, giving him the idea to create the mimic. This would make sense considering where we find...
And remember, another thing, by the time of Ruin, it's mimicking voices perfectly. None of this garbled robot bullshit we hear in Secret of the Mimic, you know?
This audio log in the room where Edwin created the mimic. This is where the mimic was...
Wait, no, that's not true, because... well, it is, I don't know, in the Fiona tape, I don't know if the voice is garbled or not, because I was going to say, that's another way, and then we have Glitch Trap, but that's a different story.
Created, and the audio log on the wall is showing us where he got the idea from. Edwin then took everything he learned from his previous inventions and used it in the mimic. The ability to change size to fit any situation mixed with the same mimic program that was mimicking his wife. And I think it's fitting that at the end of the game, you can see one of the mycelium men sitting...
Oh my God, John. John, how long did you spend in this game? John?
right next to M1, possibly being a nod to where the mimic program came from compared to where it is now. As we know, M1 did successfully start mimicking his wife Fiona, but we learn in the game that M1 insisted on keeping its existence a secret.
Edwin,
You need to listen. You can't let them know about me. It's not safe. Keep it between.
Excuse me. Wait. Whoa. Oh, whoa.
Keep it between. To listen. You can't let them know about me.
We have plotting. Dude, what did you create? You made AI that's sentient and mimic stuff and now is scheming. Are you mad? He's the real problem. The real problem isn't William Afton. It's this guy. This guy's gonna kill us all. This guy's a problem. I'm glad. Okay, I'm actually not. Well, the fact that he's dead, he's too dangerous to be left alive. He's too, wow.
It's not safe. Keep it between us.
This guy is the real problem.
This is why I think that Edwin wasn't 100% honest with David about M1 at first.
How much of his brain did he unlock, bro?
M1.
Why does it look like that?
It's an endoskeleton. It won't always look like this. It can fit into any costume we've created. Think of it as your new babysitter.
I do think Edwin...
He was gonna rope... Edwin...
Also...
Hey, Edwin, see, you were going down a very dangerous rabbit hole that I'm glad you were stopped in.
Also intended for M1 to be something he could eventually sell as an endoskeleton that can be any character, but I think the very first one was always meant to be Fiona. I think this because in the room where M1 was created, we see an image of it inside of a mascot costume, while also getting the audio log showing the Mimic program mimicking Fiona. Not only was M1 a great business idea, it was also a great way to potentially bring back his wife. But as we know, this doesn't really end up working out for Edwin in the end. And the main reason everything falls apart isn't because Edwin created the Mimic endoskeleton to replace his wife, it's because of the paperclip.
What?
Let me explain.
Yeah, look, he started smiling because he knew what he just said was ridiculous. But I'll hear him out. But yeah, I like how he...
The Mimic endoskeleton to replace his wife, it's because of the paperclip.
Can someone clip that? That's actually, I want that out of context.
Edwin created the Mimic endoskeleton to replace his wife.
If anyone asks you for a reason about anything, you play them this.
It's because of the paperclip. Let me explain. I think this game was trying to tell us that something went wrong long before M1 or M2
It's because of the paperclip, guys.
even existed. Remember those messages from Edwin's customers complaining about his inventions acting strange? Well, there's actually a common theme throughout all of them. Quote, "My husband is a steel worker."
John?
And recently he moved to the night shift. He tried your stay up latte and it worked wonders for about 2 weeks. He is now in the hospital because of your drink. We bought your magic coat rack last May, but lately it seems to change size at random. One morning I came out to find all my coats flung across the room and the coat rack 10 feet tall. We're afraid someone might get hurt. And my child loves your Jest cereal. However, the pranks inside are extremely inappropriate. The hand buzzer paralyzed our dog Fido.
Hey, Edwin, what the hell are you making? Yo, can someone go check on this dude? Like, actually. You're selling this to children? Look at me in the eye. You okay? You good? All right.
The coffee machine worked at first, but then started serving up way too much caffeine, leading the customer to be hospitalized.
Oh my gosh, he's getting people addicted to caffeine. This guy is the problem. Diavolo from part 5.
The coat rack that could change its size worked at first, but then started changing its size a little too much, becoming 10 feet tall. The prank in the Jest cereal box was...
I think I know where he's going with this. The program, at a certain point, like, malfunctions and acts way too extreme.
supposed to be a little shock toy, but the toy eventually gave a little too much shock and paralyzed the dog. And the mycelium men were listening to and repeating words, but then they started listening a little too much to private conversations. Each of these inventions were doing what they were programmed to do, but they were doing them to such an extreme degree that it started to become dangerous. I think Scott and Steelwool showed us these messages for one specific purpose: to point out the one specific flaw in Edwin's mimic program. In 2003, a philosopher named Nick Bostrom came up with a thought.
That was almost the world's largest non sequitur, but we'll see where he's going with this.
Experiment surrounding AI and paperclips. He called it the paperclip maximizer, and the idea is that if you give a poorly designed AI the goal of creating as many paperclips as possible, it will do anything to complete the job.
It will do anything, like literally anything, to create a paperclip.
Bostrom said, quote, "The AI will realize quickly that it would be much better if there were no humans.
So basically what he's saying is that no matter what the goal of AI is, eventually it will conclude that that humans need to die. So we're fucked either way, guys. I like yeah.
Because humans might decide to switch it off. Because if humans do so, there would be fewer paperclips. Also, human bodies contain a lot of atoms that could be made into paperclips. The future that the AI would be trying to gear towards would be one in which there were a lot of paperclips, but no humans. Just like Edwin's inventions, this theory revolves around an AI that was given a harmless task, but it does it to such an extreme degree that it starts to become dangerous. This is exactly what we see with Edwin's mimic program. The mimic AI that Edwin created for these inventions was amazing, but it had one extremely consequential flaw. It lacked something called AI alignment. AI alignment is something that makes sure an AI aligns with human values and ethics. With AI alignment, if you give an AI the goal to create as many paperclips as possible, it will accomplish the task without doing any harm. This is because the AI now has the same values and ethics as us. But because Edwin never implemented human ethics and morals into his program, his inventions did what they were programmed to do, but to that extreme degree, which then made them dangerous.
I know what you...
Hey, hold on. When this music comes on, I know he's cooking, so let me listen closely.
AI makes exactly such an extreme degree that it starts to become dangerous. This is exactly what we see with Edwin's mimic program. The mimic AI that Edwin created for these inventions was amazing, but it had one extremely consequential flaw. It lacked something called AI alignment. AI alignment is something that makes sure an AI aligns with human values and ethics. With AI alignment, if you give an AI the goal to create as many paperclips as possible, it will accomplish the task without doing any harm. This is because the AI now has the same values and ethics as us. But because Edwin never implemented human ethics and morals into his program, his inventions did what they were programmed to do, but to that extreme degree, which then made them dangerous.
I know what you want better than you do.
And believe it or not, this one mistake by Edwin can be seen decades later in the Glamrock animatronics. We know because of the Tales from the Pizzaplex books that Edwin's mimic AI is infecting the entire Pizzaplex, including the animatronics. Glamrock Chica's whole thing is that she loves food, but because of the mimic AI, she starts loving food a little too much. With her now eating anything she can get her hands on. Roxy's whole thing is her confidence, but now the mimic AI made her way too confident. Monty is the tough guy of the group, but the mimic AI heightened that and made him way too aggressive. Once again, they're doing what they were programmed to do, but to
never mind.
To an extreme degree, making them dangerous. This can also be applied to M1. When M1 was given the task to take care of David, it was going to complete that task no matter the cost. But once David passed away, M1 was now unable to accomplish the task it was given. There was no longer a David to take care of. This is why once David was gone, M1 begged Edwin to create M2 and bring David back.
You need to try again. Build another. Edwin, calm down and give it some thought. Try again. Make another. and we can all be together.
And even after being trapped in the Mixes machine, M1 is still doing everything it can to bring David back.
Put that data diver in the inventory system. It'll go right to where it's needed.
M1 needs our data diver, but once we refuse to give it up, its tone immediately changes, and it starts saying anything it can to make us turn around.
Like, literally, the switch up is crazy. It's like, what are you doing? You failure. You're just like the others. I hate you. You're scum. You're trash. I'm gonna spit on you and call you garbage while I step on your face. Like, what the hell? The switch up is crazy.
What are you doing? Don't you want a bonus? Or 2 bonuses? You can have a day off. You are not going to make it out of here alive. If you had just given me the schematics, we could have fixed things.
It goes from this.
What are you doing?
To this.
Don't you want a...
Look, it goes from this. Ready? Do you want a bonus or 2 bonuses? You could have a day off. It goes from that.
Bonus?
To this.
Or 2 bonuses? You can have a day off. You are not going to make it out of here alive.
Yo, that's the most 180 switch up I have. Wow, like those are on opposite ends of the spectrum. I love it.
If you had just given me the schematics, we could have fixed things.
Up until the last second before we meet M1 face to face, it is still throwing every insult it can at us.
I see right through your simple shell game.
M1 is desperate and out of options, and without an endoskeleton to occupy, it can't physically make us do anything. So it'll say any insult or threat that it can, until we meet it face to face. When this happens, M1 switches its strategy from threatening...
Hold on, did you catch that? Did you see the camera on the right turn?
When
we enter the room, watch.
Face to face.
Ready? So... right here. Watch right here. I'll slow it down.
When this happens,
Boom. It was watching us the whole time. Nice one,
switches
Scott.
its strategy from threatening to bargaining.
It's going through the stages of grief, bro. It started at denial, saying he's still alive. Then anger, just now. Now it's at bargaining. I don't know what the next one is. It's like sadness or something. Yeah, it was sad. And it's going to accept it eventually. There's proof of sentience, by the way.
Despite the circumstances, it is nice to meet you face to face.
Arnold could theoretically destroy or even unplug the Mixes machine, and M1 wouldn't be able to stop us, so it starts immediately playing to our emotions.
It is lonely down here.
Wow.
Edwin abandoned us. He shut himself away in our home. Tell Edwin I still love him.
This is another prime example of the Mimic AI doing its job to a dangerous degree. M1 doesn't have a David to take care of, so it doesn't care how many Fazbear technicians have to die. It wants David back, and it wants our data diver.
Fazbear will send another. Maybe that one will help me.
Towards the end of the game, you can find Edwin's first ever prototype of the Cleanovac. This prototype is later described as, quote, the vacuum pet, his greatest success and his greatest failure. You could interpret this a lot of ways, but the way I interpret it is that although the Cleanovac was a financial success, the Mimic program that Edwin created for it was what made it his biggest failure. These inventions were where it all started, and little did he know that the consequences of his greatest failure would be seen for decades to come. The story of the modern FNAF games is an extremely relevant cautionary tale, showcasing the dangers of what could happen if one poorly designed AI program got out of control. I know this probably felt more like a research essay than a groundbreaking theory with big reveals, but discussing the overall theme and where I think everything initially went wrong just felt right for my first video on such a big game. There is still a lot to talk about though, so make sure to subscribe for more theories. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.
Okay.
FNAF Secret of the Mimic has...
Whoa. Tom Blacks. All right, John. I'm going to rewatch that a little closer. But, yeah. No. So, her, like, face value thoughts Yeah, I mean, everything seems to line up, yeah. But I haven't really scrutinized it, so we'll see. But yeah. All right. Tom. Now we're on to Tom. Thomas Thomason.
FNAF Secret of the Mimic has finally
Game
solved
theory.
security breach. Thanks to the
Did it?
inclusion of the Mimic's backstory, we now have the answers that we have been dying to understand for years. What
We already
is the
had them,
Mimic's
though.
goal? What is the deal with mexes? And why was the lore of security breach so confusing in the first place? You know, besides the
was
whole
not.
Scott not telling Steelwool the story thing.
I thought I could do that without telling Steelwool the story plot.
Good, Scott. I love the thought, bro. 10 out of 10 thought process. You guys heard it here from the man himself. Do it again.
Telling Steelwool the
Do it
story
again. Do it again.
thing.
I thought I could do that without telling Steelwool the story plot.
Scott, do you see what I mean? He's such a gatekeeper. Mango, you heard it here from the man himself. He gatekeeps this hard.
Telling Steelwool the story thing.
I thought I could do that without telling Steelwool the story plot.
Scott? Bro, just tell people the lore, for Christ's sake. For God's sake.
Hello, Internet.
He
Welcome to Game
literally-
Theory,
He
the show
literally wants to keep the lore that secret that bad.
that has ingested so much FNAF lore, it too has chosen
Like,
violence.
not even Toby Fox is this bad.
That's right, today we're tackling the
Then again, he
second
makes his
main
own
character
games,
in our
but-
three-part Secret of the Mimic extravaganza, the Mimic. Although I say that, as I was writing this episode, one thing became very clear. There is way too much to say about this character to fit in just one episode, and so I'm gonna add a bonus fourth episode to our lineup. Today we're gonna focus on the Mimic's past and present, and next time, its future. That also puts our very special FNAF Theorist Live Talkback on August 16th at 2 p.m. EST.
This is my time, boys. Boys and girls. This is it. We're gonna do it.
So mark your calendars, folks, and hit the subscribe button before the Mimic comes and gets you. Sorry I miscalculated, but hey, Steelwool is still calling it Five Nights at Freddy's when all of their games take place in just one night, so... Oh look, the Mimic, it's here! Did you not hit the
that's so
subscribe
true.
button like I asked?
All their games
Seriously?
take place
I
in one
suppose you
night,
still have some time, but
canonically.
while you do that, let's actually talk about this one-of-a-kind villain. Well...
Oh my God! I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing.
Well, is still
Do
calling
you
it
guys see it? Look,
Five Nights at Freddy's when all of their games take place in just one night.
all their games take place in one night. Look how many games there are. Steal. Oh, you guys are funny. You're cheeky. You're cheeky. I caught it. I caught it. Look how many games there are, guys. Wow. You see what they're doing?
So... Oh look, the Mimic, it's here! Did you not hit the subscribe button like I
We got another game on the way, guys.
asked? Seriously? I suppose you still have some time, but while you do that, let's actually talk about this one-of-a-kind villain.
J-Top.
Actually, this
Jason Topography. What are you doing?
despite me referring to it as the Mimic this whole time, the one key thing Secret of the Mimic was very clear about, it's really not one of a kind at all. Which, to be fair, is something we've been believing for a while now. In Tales from the Pizzaplex, we see two versions of the Mimic. The Mimic 1 program, which was the Mimic software that Edwin Murray created to put into a half-finished endoskeleton to play with his son David, which was then later used by Fazbear in The Storyteller, and then there's the Mimic 2, which was Fazbear's improvements on the original design.
Hold on, I just want to text that. I'm just gonna put that in the group chat. Wow, Steel Wool. Wow, 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 wow. So you know that, wow.
creating an endoskeleton that could change its shape and size to fit any costume or animatronic. However,
you're gonna kill me. Anyways.
all of that tied into things like Security Breach and Ruin were pretty speculative, especially as we didn't even know if the book stories were in the same continuity and whether we could rely on them wholesale or not. My personal theory was that yes, those two mimics were indeed present in Security Breach, with the Mimic 2 being the physical endoskeleton we find in the basement of Ruin, and the Mimic 1 program being what we now know as Glitchtrap, taking over Fazbear's systems and using it to manipulate people into doing its bidding, like Helpy does to Cassie in Ruin, which is why we get this interaction between Helpy and the totally real Gregory arguing.
I took care of it. The area's safe now.
But now we do have a definitive backstory for the Mimic inside the game continuity. It turns out that yes, there are indeed two in-game mimics, but there are some key differences from their book counterparts, and that drastically changes our entire understanding of Security Breach, Ruin, and the program that was trying to keep the Mimic underground.
No, it
mixes.
doesn't.
So hop into that definitely working elevator, friends, as we plummet down into the depths of
Like what?
Murray's costume manor to discover the real secret of the Mimic. So what does this game actually tell us about the game universe's version of the Mimic? Well, like most things in this game, it's similar but different to what we were expecting. Edwin does create the original Mimic, M1, to babysit David.
Think of it as your new babysitter, but it doesn't get paid and go home. It'll stay with us and help around the house.
But he also states that it was created to work inside multiple costumes.
It'll wear fun costumes. It can fit into any costume we've created.
Essentially, the game's lore has combined the purposes of the books M1 and M2 into one creation, and attributed all of it to Edwin, rather than one being a Fazbear creation, just like basically everything in this game. But this M1 also develops a little more than its book counterpart.
This is where I heard it. It's her or someone that sounds like her.
Yeah, we just went over this.
M1 begins showing signs of mimicking the deceased wife of its creator, literally mimicking the role of David's primary caretaker, his mother, Fiona. As we discussed last time, Fiona tragically died in a fire at Fall Fest, and this totally destroys Edwin's mental state.
Yeah, no, I think it was already broken before that. But yeah.
I can't do this alone.
So, naturally, when he starts thinking he's hearing the voice of his wife, he leans in hard. By David's last birthday, M1 is still not wearing any costumes like Edwin said it would, but instead it is mimicking Fiona perfectly. Baking a cake, hanging decorations, all of that.
Want to glow up?
Oh, stop.
For your
No, I don't. I want you to be quiet and not interrupt my stream.
And this totally destroys Edwin's mental state.
I can't do this alone.
So, naturally, when he starts thinking he's hearing the voice of his wife, he leans in hard. By David's last birthday, M1 is still not wearing any costumes like Edwin said it would, but instead it is mimicking Fiona perfectly. Baking a cake, hanging decorations, all of that good stuff.
I baked it myself for David's special day.
That's so
This is where
that's just creepy, bro.
Edwin's second tragedy strikes. M1 Fiona goes down to get David while everyone is waiting to celebrate him.
All right, we're having cam we're having cam issues. I'll fix that later.
Only for them to discover that David is dead. Again, Edwin is destroyed by this. But this time, M1 Fiona is here, and she has a quick and easy solution.
You need to try again. Build another.
The two go back and forth over this for a while, but eventually Edwin gives in and begins attempting to make a new mimic that will mimic his dead son. However, it doesn't really seem to be working.
Every copy has failed. I don't even know why it worked the first time, but it did.
The only reference Edwin has—
Oh, snap. That might be a little more fuel for Mr. John's theory. He doesn't know how it worked the first time because it was different. And he just went over why it was different. So, yeah.
For the mimic idea working is M1, which leads to Edwin's final gambit. In one of the text logs we receive after meeting M1 Fiona during the parachute ending, it says the M2 began as a copy of my program. This log has been sent by M1 to Edwin's machine. In order to make M2 work, Edwin simply made a copy of her programming. I guess if you can't figure out how it worked the first time, just duplicate the thing that already works. And it does work. It's just a little too much for Edwin to handle.
Not him. You're not. Stop sounding like him.
You see, guys, Edwin said it himself.
It's just a little too much for Edwin to handle.
He said it himself, guys.
Not him.
You're not him. But don't worry, he doesn't know I will always be him. I am him. You're not him.
You're not. Stop sounding like him.
This moment is what turned M2 into the killing machine we now find in the game, and its first victim, the man who tried to destroy it.
Due to a minor detonation, there is damage to my office interior.
He is him.
And that is essentially everything we know from the game itself. It's unclear exactly what happens next to get us to Security Breach and Ruin. It's gonna depend heavily on which ending is canon and what happens in the inevitable DLC.
I think it's clear. Let's be real.
See that Steelworld does for all of their FNAF games. Personally, my money's on the DLC being about Fall Fest. I proved last time that the game takes place in September 1979, so Fall Fest would likely be in full swing, and the Mimic is free in every ending. But regardless of whether I'm right about that, one thing I am sure about is that at some point, M2 is going to be trapped inside MCM. It will get cemented up, only for us to go down into the basement of Ruin and find it again. Now, I know what you're
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who did that. That's a big one.
Thinking. These two characters don't look anything alike, but just take a look around first. We have a springlock scooper, wooden boxes filled with costumes like crows, elephants, and lions, a similar flooring, and wood panel walls with builder's lights hanging from them. Everything we're seeing at MCM matches stuff that we saw underground when we encountered the Mimic in Ruin.
But that was
we can also find
FNAF
endoskeleton
6.
pieces deep within MCM from when Edwin was experimenting trying to create the Mimic. And if you look closely, some of them don't really match the current version of the Mimic, but they match the endoskeleton of the Mimic that we find in Ruin. My guess is that in the lead up to it being cemented, or even during the cementing up of MCM itself, it ended up getting damaged, or some of the pieces just stopped working over time, and so it replaces its parts one by one. We've already seen it replace its legs, so what's an arm, or a torso, or a head? Finally though, the Mimic in Ruin, it acts just like the M2 we see in Secret of the Mimic. It's mimicking a young boy, Gregory, it's wearing mascot costumes, and it's being violent towards humans. It even walks in a similar fashion and gets its hand stuck in an elevator. Now, that last one doesn't strictly make the two characters the same. Anyone can get their arm stuck in an elevator. But the fact that Steel
Okay. Look at the title of the video. What is this first 7 minutes about?
That in, along with all the other things we've talked about, it seems like they're trying to tie together these characters and this area, telling us that Pizzaplex, and by association FNAF 6, was built on top of MCM, locking away all of its inventions down here, including...
Does this mean Fazburger theory is true? FNAF 4, FNAF where a bunch of games are built, canonically built on top of each other. This game, FNAF 3, FNAF 6, Sister Location, and FNAF 4, and Security Breach, and Ruin are all on top of each other. That's 6 games, Fazburger.
M2 itself. I mean, we know that Fazbear isn't against saving some cash by building on top of previous establishments. And there's one text log directly from Willie A himself that tells us that he owns the land which MCM stands on. But that—
Oh wait, yeah. Just read this email. We would love to keep you on as lead engineer, although we now technically own the land. We would never touch the house your parents built. We feel this off. Signed, William Afton.
That's only one of the Mimics answered for. What about M1? Well, to start with, she's just chilling inside a computer. Yeah, it seems that not only was M2 a copy of M1's programming, he also put M2 into the very same endoskeleton. Just look at them side by side. They're identical. Well, besides the legs, because, you know. And we don't see another one of these endoskeletons walking around or even
That's a frame. I'm screenshotting that. That's a screenshot. That is a screenshot. That is a screenshot. Miguel. We have Miguel in the building. How you doing, Miguel? Look at this frame. I love this frame. Whoa. Yeah. you know me. We're just reacting to the movie trailer, and then Mr. John's video. John and I have a complicated relationship.
Commissioned. So all signs are pointing to Edwin removing the M1 program from the endoskeleton, putting M2 into the endoskeleton, and leaving M1 as just a program inside the computer that we find during the parachute ending.
It is nice to meet you face to face.
But as I'm sure most of you have realized, this isn't just any computer. This is the same computer that we found
F10N4 Fiona in lead speak
down in the basement of Ruin, the one that was running the Mexes program, the big digital genie bunny that is keeping M2 locked away underneath the Pizzaplex. Does this mean Fiona is Mexes? Has Mexes actually been—
Yes and no. Trailer's a W. Trailer is a W. And it got rid of sibling theory that Mike and Vanessa are siblings. They are on a date. So unless Scott is into some interesting endeavors, they are not siblings. They are not related.
The M1 mimic like we first suspected when we saw the trailers for Ruin. I actually got asked about this during the theory crafting livestream we did immediately after our GT Live playthrough, which is what inspired me to do this episode in the first place. So thanks for showing up and being a part of that if that was you. At the time it stumped me, but now that I've actually had some time to think about it, I believe I do have an answer. And that answer is not quite. Honestly, it just doesn't make sense for Fiona to be a big blue bunny. Now yes, I know what series we're talking about. FNAF rarely makes sense, but hear me out. We've always talked about how the Fazbear—
Yes and no. He's changing. He's like combining a few. He's combining a couple stories and changing a couple things up. But the main plot points are accurate. Yeah.
Characters tend to be used as symbolism in these games. Freddy tends to be representative of Henry, for example. But in this game, we're also shown that Fiona was the one who designed Foxy and Chica. So
that is not okay. That's false. That is not true. She designed Chica, not Foxy. Well, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
If something is meant to represent her, it's more likely going to be one of those two. In my opinion, most likely Foxy. He was originally a puppet and she was a puppeteer. But Bonnie has always represented Afton. Afton was the reason Edwin was locked away in the R&D department and in his home, working on the new restaurant concept, keeping him away from his family, his son, which led to his death, and eventually to him creating a violent and destructive mimic. So rather than Mixes being a representation of Fiona, it's far more fitting that it's a representation of Afton. This new mimic has taken on part of Edwin's personality, the violent part, and—
Oh no, are you gonna say, oh no, oh no. I feel like he's gonna go over the theory that I think he's gonna go over. Involving William and mimic.
Is now being kept locked away by another blue rabbit. Like father, like son. But the real reason I don't think they're one and the same is because of the parachute ending. During it, we have to activate something called cradle.exe. We first hear about what this cradle is from one of the text logs.
Also, look right here. Wait. Mechanical X-Form experimental storage, number 1. Mexes. It already existed at the same time as F10N4 or Fiona. So they are different.
A handful of these logs seem to be addressed to Edwin and have a subject line written in binary, like a computer program trying to communicate, i.e. M1. One of these specifically asks Edwin to consider building the cradle if he won't fix M2's programming, and provides him with the blueprints for it. She describes it as a computer, bigger than anything he's built before, which sounds familiar on its own, but if you stop just before executing cradle.exe, you can see that it has a description. Mechanical X-Form Experimental Storage.
Mexes is a cradle program.
M-X-E-X. Mexes was actually M1's idea. But then if Mexes is a separate program designed by M1, why does she end up on the same computer? It's because of what Mexes stands for. I've already mentioned it stands for Mechanical X-Form.
He's storing the Mimic 1 program.
Experimental storage. The word there you may not be familiar with is X-Form. Simply, it's just programming shorthand for the word transform, i.e. it's an experimental way of storing or keeping locked away a transforming machine. Makes sense. However, there is a little more to it than that. In programming, the transforming that X-Form refers to is an object's position, rotation, and scale. Again, all things we understand about the Mimic's transforming abilities, but the key is how those transformations are applied. You see, X forms are hierarchical, meaning transformations applied to a parent X form affect all of the objects assigned to that parent, like they're its children, if you will. M1 was the first mimic, the original, so it needed to be on the same machine as Mex's to act as the hierarchical X form for M2. M1 has also taken on the role of Fiona, while M2 is supposed to be David, Fiona's child, again fitting nicely into that hierarchical programming setup. The parent is there so that Mex's can help control the child. Mex's can apply something to M1 that will automatically control M2. But clearly the program was never installed. Edwin built the Cradle computer and put M1 Fiona into it in order that the Mex's program could use her to control the child and keep it locked away, but Mex's isn't actually installed until we come along during the parachute ending. Eventually, Fazbear came along and collected the Cradle in a Fazbear van like we saw in the Help Wanted 2 update, with Mex's fully operational. It's at this point that I believe they separated these two programs, Mex's and M1. The Cradle was then rebranded from F10N4 to completely Mex's, like we see in the basement of Ruin, and the M1 program was removed and likely stored like we saw in the story.
Hold on, I gotta pee. I'm gonna use the bathroom. All right. Let's get right back to it. Oh, the camera. Oh, snap.
Storyteller until they decided they needed it for video games.
Told us to scan it, said it would expedite the process. It was just junk, circuit boards and things like that.
Which of course leads to M1 taking over Fazbear's systems, corrupting the animatronics, and creating the storylines that we see in Help Wanted, Security Breach, Help Wanted 2, and Ruin. This would all seem to line up with the previous theories I mentioned at the start of this episode, with Helpy actually being the M1
Pro. Yo, that's a throwback right there. This video, the one on the right, I think that was like one of the second or first videos I reacted to or something. I think so. Something like that. You can check that out later, but yeah.
the M1 program controlling the entire
That's a
Pizzaplex. It would
throwback.
also explain why M1 is able to stop mexes. They are no longer on the same system. Mexes no longer has the hierarchical power to use M1 as an X form. But on that note, if mexes was M1's idea, why then is she actively stopping it? Helpy is literally helping Cassie get further into the Pizzaplex, teaching her how to stop mexes and how to free the Mimic. Well, it's because while mexes was her idea, it was never really her goal.
Try again, make another, and we can all be together. I miss you, but I miss my child. I want him back.
That's such
We
a
must
scary line
convince
to
him
hear
to
in
repair
Eleanor.
M2. That is all that I want.
In the text log about the cradle, M1 is trying to appeal to Edwin, asking him to make the cradle because it became clear he wasn't going to fix M2. But really, she wanted her child back. Mexes was just a stopgap for her, a way to keep the Mimic safe while she figured out a way to fix it without Edwin. That's why she faked the voice of Fazbear Dispatch and convinced Arnold to explore the manor and find the schematics for the Mimic. It's so that she can fix it herself. And if people get hurt along the way, so be it. It's all a price worth paying so that she can get what she wants. Just like we see Helpy do to Cassie in Ruin, leading her to an almost certain demise just to shut down Mexes and free M2. So that's it. We finally solved the story of Security Breach and Ruin. It's all about M1 Fiona trying to reconnect with M2, the robot David, and fix him so they can be a family again? Oh, I wish it were that simple, friends. But this is FNAF. There are, of course, complications with all of that. While we are being shown very clear motivations for M1 back in 1979, it doesn't mean that's strictly going to be the case going forward. It'd be very easy for us to go, oh, M1 is Fiona, M2 is David, end of story. But it's not like old-fashioned FNAF where these endoskeletons are possessed by the spirits of the original person. They are programs designed to learn and imitate those people. We're shown this with M2 throughout the game. It started as a copy of M1's program, then it's given David stimuli, then it learns to be violent, not because David was violent, but because Edwin was violent towards it. Then in Ruin, we see M2 mimicking Gregory's voice. Again, a new stimulus changing
There you go,
how it
Miguel.
behaves. M1 is no different. There is a note that can be found in the basement of Murray's Costume Manor where you have to avoid the moon and collect the final collectible. It reads as follows, quote, "We were expecting. There were complications. Consciousness was lost for an undetermined time. Once I woke, we were all together and happy, a family. But something was different. I felt wrong somehow. Was I me? Corrupted file suspected." This moment being mentioned, the complications, the loss of consciousness, we've heard about it before. Or should I say, we've read about it. This is Fiona's story, just not the one from Secret of
It's the one from the
the Mimic, but from Tales from the Pizzaplex. In it, Fiona gets pregnant, but there are complications, and she dies in childbirth. The only difference here is that the writer wakes up, and suddenly they're a happy family. The similarities to Fiona, along with the corrupted file, makes it sound like this is coming from M1 Fiona's perspective. She remembers dying in childbirth, but then suddenly is awake and part of a happy family like the Fiona from this timeline. Her memories are becoming conflated and confused based on other stimuli. How she's being infected with memories from the books is a theory for another day. The point is that M1 is also susceptible to memory corruption and personality changes based on new stimuli, especially, it would seem, if they share a connection with her. Which brings us to the glitch trap in all of this. It's pretty well accepted at this point that glitch trap has actually been the Mimic program this whole time, infecting Fazbear's systems and mimicking whatever it needed to. Helpy, VIP, the Glamrocks, and acting like a virus, infecting them all in order to take control. If M1 was purely Fiona, it wouldn't make sense for M1 to present herself as anything other than Fiona in some kind of digitized form. Probably a Foxy like we talked about earlier. But instead, we see an old school version of Afton's Yellow Bunny. Why? Because M1 has also been receiving other stimuli thanks to its inclusion in the creation of the Help Wanted VR game, as I alluded to earlier.
Told us to scan it. It was just junk. Circuit boards and things like that.
By having M1 circuitry used to build Help Wanted, the M1 program was fed information from the first set of games in this franchise, learning all about the Yellow Bunny killer that would lead kids into the back room and kill them, a family of children all killed by animatronics, and a father that wanted to put them back together. A father with the same goal as her, someone willing to crack a few eggs to make my They're practically the same person, and so M1 accidentally makes them the same person, wearing the costume, kidnapping the kids we see in the newspaper in Security Breach's bad ending and leading them into the back rooms during VIP. All of this explains why Security Breach's story felt like such a mess. And it's why no theorist could really have predicted what we ended up seeing in Secret of the Mimic. Most of the theories I had were about Afton and Henry's parts in the story, because all signs left by Glitchtrap or the Pizzaplex in general were pointing towards Afton and his involvement with the Mimic. How else were we supposed to interpret a dining table scene with 5 characters clearly representing the Afton family in a room with post-it notes written in binary? But this is why Fiona, M1, was conflating her stories with that of the Aftons. Take a second look at that dining.
Wait, what? He was what? She was what?
Room with post-it notes written in binary. But this is why Fiona, M1, was conflating her stories with that of the Aftons.
How? Where? When?
Take a second look at that dining table scene. The magician we assumed was Afton, it's wearing a bow tie.
Oh my god.
Thing which, of course, matches Afton's famous Yellow Rabbit costume, but I mentioned in our last theory that within Secret of the Mimic, bow ties are really commonly associated with another character, Edwin. We pick one up off of his statue during Moon.exe, he's wearing it during his company portrait, his wedding photo, and his family photo, and it's literally the logo of his company. Plus, Edwin was kind of a magician when you think about it, specifically when it came to technology. He developed things well beyond what should have been possible for the time. So much so that Fazbear hired him to work on their stuff and eventually bought the whole thing. And then there's the motherly character, the one at the head of the table, the one that we all naturally assumed must be Mrs. Afton, despite the fact she's never shown up in the games. Well, in the game files, that character model is called the Nanny Bot, which is what M1 was originally supposed to be.
Think of it as your new babysitter.
And now M1 is in charge. Edwin wasn't going to fix things, it's up to her, and she has control of the entire Pizzaplex. She is now the one at the head of the table. This dining table now has characters that, yes, fit the Aftons, but the parents also bear a striking resemblance to her own family that she's trying to rebuild. And that drive to rebuild the family is still there. I already mentioned that Helpy's whole thing is trying to get Cassie down into the basement to stop Mexes and free M2, but which family she's now trying to rebuild is obviously getting a little lost in the source. That's why we have 2 Glitchtrap disciples, Vanessa and Gregory, both of whom we've pointed out since the very beginning.
Don't you dare, don't say she look, they're not the same. Elizabeth is a ginger, and Garrett has black hair.
There are a lot of similarities to
They don't.
the Afton children. And that's not even going into the similarities between David Afton and David Murray. Again, theories for another day. What we're seeing is M1 getting similarities to the Afton children. And that's not even going into the similarities between David Afton and David Murray. Again,
name 1. Actually, name 3. Because I know the first 2 are going to be they died when they died when they were young, and that they hold a plush. So what's the third?
Again, theories for another day. What we're seeing is M1 getting confused, mixing up storylines from her book persona and her newly found Afton persona, conflating the 2 ideas as one in the same. She's trying to rebuild the family she lost all the way back in the 1970s, but thanks to her use by Fazbear Entertainment to make a VR game, she's taken on too much of Afton's persona, and so is still driven to get M2.
It's not a she. Man, no. Mimic one is not a she. It just
basement, but who she believes M2 now personifies is completely messed up. Does she still think it's her son David? Does she think it's the other kid from the Afton lineup that's missing, Michael? Or does she not even really know anymore? Is she just trying to free it because that core desire is there, but the meaning has gotten lost through all of this new stimuli? The truth is, that part is unclear right now. Any and all options are available to us. We just need to keep digging while also being aware that the DLC or sequel could drop in a year or so and change everything.
There's going to be 2
but
more.
Speaking of digging a little deeper, regardless of who M1
There's going to be a
thinks
DLC
M2
for
is
this.
anymore, I
That's
do
night
think
5.
we've been given the answer
And then
on how to
the next
stop
game,
both
which is
of
Lore.
them once and for all. It's just gonna have to wait until next time. All I'll say for now is that it has everything to do with one of the most tricky and mysterious animatronics from all of Security Breach. And I'll also say that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching.
All right. Well, okay. I think I like that. 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 Yeah. So, what is it? It's like pretty. It's almost dinner time, quote unquote dinner time. By that I don't mean close to dinner time at all. But I have stuff to do. So I think we're gonna end the stream there. Short stream. We've already reacted to the videos and all that stuff. But there will be dissections, and I'll upload the stream clips of later. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.
Gigi, I've decided not to leave this town. Maybe I can stay and find some other nice people who will like me and accept me for who I am.